welcome again to my show, Searching for Integrity. My name really is John Smith, and I'm searching for people with integrity because our country suffers from IDD, integrity deficit disorder. We have today, lucky to have, Tara Ison to discuss her book, At the Hour Between Dog and Wolf. What do you think? Tara, you ready for this?
Oh, sure. Let's do it. Thank you so much for having me, John.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to let you, I'm going to give you the reins and see how you can come along with this. Now, I have to tell everybody this is a novel. Otherwise, they'll think they're looking at, well, anyway, it's different. And your taste in books is really extraordinary. You have a lot of credits here and a lot of hoorays.
Thank
and
you.
I like that. I like that quite a bit. Why did you choose The Dog and the Wolf?
Do you mean the title itself, or do you mean why did I write the book?
How about both?
Okay. All right. Yeah, and they're related. So
Okay.
yeah, okay. At the Hour Between Dog and Wolf is set in World War II Vichy France. And it is the story of a young Jewish girl living in Paris with her parents, who in the early days of the war, to keep her safe, is taken out to live on a farm with a Catholic family under the guise of being an orphaned niece. And she is given her new name and taught the new prayers and told that if she makes a mistake, the police are going to come kill everybody. And what happens is, over the course of the novel, she begins as a 12-year-old. And I think at that age, the idea of identity and understanding who you are in the world is still pretty fragile. So to put someone like that in the position of having to live a different reality and pretend to be a completely different person really interested me. Initially, she starts off just because she's 12 years old thinking, oh yeah, I can do this. It's like pretend. I mean, it's a game. But the stakes get higher. As the war goes on, the German occupation of France becomes increasingly dire and dangerous. The stakes get higher and higher. And in order to adapt and survive, my character ultimately loses herself in this new identity that she has created. And by the end of the novel, she has become completely transformed into a different person. She has absolutely denied her Jewish heritage. She's become devoutly Catholic. But where I really wanted to take her is she also becomes an anti-Semitic fascist collaborator. And I was really interested in that kind of psychological trajectory, especially in recent years when we are seeing the rise of anti-Semitic and fascist ideologies on a global scale. The book for me is rather disturbingly timely and relevant.
Right. So did she reverse all of that at some point, or did she basically...
That's such an interesting question, because toward the end of the novel, she is confronted with the reality of what she has become, who she has become, some of the choices and the behaviors that she has made. And I didn't take her too far beyond that by the end of the novel, because she realizes what has happened to her and what she has allowed happen to her and what she's participated in. But I think that it's just the beginning of her being able to truly understand that she has to at this point, yet, one more time, become a completely different person. She's no longer the child she once was during the, at the beginning of the war. She can no longer be the person that she has become, but she doesn't know how she is going to move forward in life and with integrity and make amends. And she just knows she has to. And I knew that if I took her much further than that, it felt like it would ring false to me at the end of the novel, like unless I jumped forward in time. So I just wanted to end it with this note of hope, of redemption, atonement, that she's going to have to find a different way and a different person to be in the world.
Welcome to the club.
We all, I think, try to figure that out every day, don't we? Who do I want to be today?
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I thought about in terms of characteristics, one was brought out for me was courageous. Was there a lot of dwelling on that? Was it, or did it come natural, or did she have difficulty with being courageous? That type of thing.
I think courage, like the word integrity, can be very slippery because people use it in very different ways, and it reflects values. The integrity, I think, seems to, for me, means a dedication to a set of values. And courage also, to me, a dedication to moving forward, to support your values in the face of opposition. But initially, as my character begins to transform into this other person, she believes she's being courageous, and she believes she's acting with integrity because of the propaganda, the indoctrination of the Vichy government, who are working with the Nazi government, with the fascist government. I know this is an overused phrase, but she drinks the Kool-Aid. And she believes that by going down that path of collaboration with these values, that she is doing the right thing to save her village, to save her country. She believes she's acting courageously and with integrity. And that's what she's really confronted with by the end of the novel is, it's been a false god. She has clung to a set of values that have taken her away from a moral grounding and taken her to a really dark place. So I actually think that takes more courage at the end of the novel for her to see that and realize that and determine that she has to move forward. That's what's really courageous.
I see. Well, you have to be if she's gone through that. And of course, for her to go through that, you've got to go through that.
And that made for some very uncomfortable moments in the writing, because the novel begins with an epigraph by Alexander Solzhenitsyn, a Soviet dissident who stood up against the Soviet regime. And he's got a quotation where he says, I'm paraphrasing, for a human being to do evil, they must first believe that what they are doing is good. And I think that's very much the theme of this novel, that she has to find a way to rationalize, again, some of the choices and behaviors that are in line with the fascist propaganda. And she does it by telling herself she's doing the right thing for everybody else. So I had to get into the mindset of a person who rationalizes beliefs grounded in racism, bigotry, anti-Semitism, fascist ideologies. I had to get into the head of someone who embraces those ideologies and believes they are for the good. And that was very uncomfortable. That was an uncomfortable place to be in. But I also believe, my hope for this novel is we have to understand how that happens. we have to understand why people choose a path like that. I think it's based in fear. I mean, here's this little girl who's told, if you don't do what we are telling you to do and don't do it right, the police are going to come kill everybody. And I think that her eventual conversion into believing, the racist, anti-Semitic, bigoted, fascist belief system is that it's telling her, if you do the right thing, you'll survive. We'll take care of you. And I think that a lot of us can relate to how fear can motivate us into making, what perhaps aren't the right judgments, the right decisions.
Now she has here that beginning, she was age 12 and went 4 years to 16 for a start, is what it says here. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? I mean, I guess I have my own idea, but I didn't get a chance to do that.
Well, that 4 years spans obviously the years of World War II and the years that she is living in hiding. And 4 years for someone of that age is an eternity, which is good, because I needed sort of that much time in order to move the character from A to Z. It's a gradual process. It's these tiny little steps, tiny decisions. So she begins the novel as a child, but she ends the novel as a young woman, and finds herself having to absolutely reconstruct who she is at that point in time.
Well, that could be difficult unless she's got someone guiding her.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't want to give away too much of the novel, actually,
Okay,
but
that's fine.
there is a person who comes into her life. There actually are a couple of characters toward the end who come into her life and motivate this reckoning, this sort of moral, personal, psychological reckoning that she has to do. And I do believe that those characters in her life will either literally will be with her, or will be in her consciousness. They've opened a door, will be there to guide her moving forward.
Right.
Yeah. You can't, I don't think you can do it alone. I think you need, the support and the faith of people who can, help you reconstruct a belief system and move forward in a more positive way.
Well, it's a good example of going against the grain and having to do that, knowing that if you don't, you're in the wrong place. My wife spent some early time in Paris, and her brothers and sisters and mother and father, who was a national financial type, and they lived in France for 6 years.
Wow.
And then they came home to Philadelphia, and she's got a pretty good handle on the French language, let me tell you.
Yeah, I bet.
It
I love
goes-
France. I love France. I love the French people. I love French culture and history, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's a complicated time in France, but I was very happy to spend that much time there in a country that I love so much.
Right. We were talking about French society, and the reciprocal, I thought, would be the same, but it's not. I said, if they don't like Americans. She said, that's mostly the truth.
I've been going to France since I was 12 years old. I've never experienced it once.
Really?
Which I'm happy to say.
Uh-huh.
I've never experienced the French as being anything other than welcoming and loving and curious, and yeah. So
well, it's true. that you become familiar and comfortable with French history and culture. And of course, when we were there, about I think a week or so, we soaked up about everything we could,
Yeah.
and we enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah. You could be there for years and never fully soak it up.
Well, it does. It also helped us because my wife was fluent in French.
Mm,
So
that helps.
that put the Americanism in the closet as long
Yeah.
as we were there.
Yeah, that really helps. Again, I speak, some middling French, and my experience has always been, again, that they are deeply appreciative of American efforts to speak French. They consider it a sign of respect that we have invested time and energy in trying to learn their very beautiful language.
I have talked to my good friend Coach who lives in California. We coached football 6th grade.
Wow.
And someday we want to go back. Yeah. When I say back, we want to go see the wars, what the war did, and all those.
I have traveled all over France, partly just for pleasure, but also a lot of research for this book. And every village has a monument to the Great War, World War I, and the children of that village who died in that war. And every village has a monument to World War II. And, again, the children of that village, that town, that city, who died in World War II, and to the victims of the war. I mean, everywhere in Paris, there are plaques up. This used to be, a school for children, and on this date, 30 Jewish children were deported from this school and killed in concentration camps. I believe that the French want to keep their history alive in a way that perhaps even the US is too uncomfortable to do. And some of the French history is very uncomfortable. The Vichy government was a collaborationist government. But my experience is that the French understand how critical it is to understand their history, and never again, and really take that very seriously.
Well, you must have put some of it in the book. It's not something what you're talking about and leave it alone. You want to keep breathing for it.
Yeah.
There's a statement here. To do evil, a human being must first of all believe that what he's doing is good.
Yeah.
And I don't use exactly those words, but I know that when I get up in the morning, there's certain things that I have to do that are going to put me back on the right path.
Yeah.
And that's what that statement to me says.
I agree. I agree. I mean, I was joking a little bit earlier when I said, we get up each morning and think about the kind of person we want to be. But I think if you're living I guess what we would call a mindful life, whether we think about that explicitly, consciously, or whether over time that becomes an unconscious inspiration for us each day. I think I'd like to think everybody on some level asks themselves that every day, what am I putting out into the world today? Who am I going to be today? What good can I do today? And I don't mean big, huge, sweeping things. I mean, take your elderly neighbors' trash cans in for them. Just these minor acts of humanity and human connection.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, we moved into a new home a week ago, And the people next door, for some reason, after the Trump is empty, that doesn't sound right. The can is empty, the garbage can. They'll leave it out there for 2 or 3 days. So finally, I just started rolling over there myself. Maybe they get the opinion or the idea of, hey, it's a nice neighborhood. It might as well be something that everybody else can enjoy.
Yeah, let's all participate in our communal life. Yeah,
exactly. It would be a lot to me in terms of a difficulty, I would say, in terms of the Catholicism. When I married my wife, and I decided that they didn't want me to, the priest wanted me to denounce my two sons that I have. And I wasn't going to do that.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
They were twins. They still are twins. Anyway, it just put a little smack on the face a little bit, about how the world is still in certain ways and certain things that are done. But
Yeah.
went ahead and got married.
Yeah. Good. Oh, I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, I wanted, my young character, again, who's Jewish, is living with a Catholic family and, is pretending to be a young Catholic girl, and has to learn the prayers and go to mass and take communion and go to confession and all that kind of thing. And I wanted to be respectful, because I feel like at its core, the power of Christianity, the power of the Catholic faith, is a message of humanity and connection. And I feel that there's a lot of beauty there. And I wanted my character to be attracted to the beauty that is there. But as with many institutions, there's also a lot of corruption, and there's a perversion of what I believe the core message of most faiths are: Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Catholicism. I think they share a very, at their core, share a very loving message. But that gets, because human beings are messy, that gets twisted and perverted. And at some point, my character unfortunately goes down that path of religious faith, as opposed to the essence of religious faith. So yeah, I wanted to be respectful of the religious experience, but not hold back on the corruption, the greed, the opportunism. I wanted to lay it all out there.
Well, I think you did, and I think that the reviews you've received are really good. And you're probably cherishing that all the way to the bank.
Oh well, I don't know about the bank, but I'm holding it close to my heart. Yeah, everybody says, oh, external validation shouldn't mean too much, but wow, I've been working on this book for 25 years. And to have it receive the reception, the lovely reception it's gotten, yeah, that means a lot to me.
Wow.
And I hope it means that more people read the book, because sales are nice, but I think the message of the book is important.
Sure.
And I'd like it to reach as wide an audience as possible for many reasons.
Well, I'm gonna read it.
I hope you enjoy it.
I will. It's already something that I want to attach myself to, is a good way to put it. I am an author as well. It took me 30 years to get it done. But that's another world. I'm so glad that you had the time to visit with us and share with us, and especially We didn't even mention her name, Danielle.
She starts as Danielle and gradually becomes Marie-Jeanne over the course of the novel. So yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Thank you.
That's good. Yeah. Now, you said that you would name all of the places that your book is going to be sold, so my books, so my listeners can do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's out there. It's everywhere. I always like to encourage people to order it from their local independent bookstore if they are fortunate enough to have a local independent bookstore.
Yes.
If you aren't lucky enough to have one nearby, you can obviously still order one from an independent bookstore who will send it to you. So I think that's great. But the truth is, any way you have access to books and can get the book, that bless your heart. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to dig hard in that book. I'm waiting for myself about when I'm surprised, but I'm not there yet. I'd have to read the book.
Yeah.
That's a big grin. Now, let's see what else we've got here. I have some items that I use that help me tune in with my listeners. Try to list with my listeners. Oh, I've discovered that you're right now on the road, I guess I should say.
Yes, I'm in the middle of my book tour, hitting another few major cities. And actually, but if anybody's interested, I do have a website where all of the information about me and the book is listed, and the website is just my name. So TARAISON.com.
Right.
And you can contact me through that website. And, I'm on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. I'm very easy to find. So if somebody reads the book and wants to ask a question about it or, discuss it with me or anything, I love that. So, if anybody listening would like to reach out, that's great. I would appreciate that.
Well, if the weather is good, we may see you. I'm in Tucson.
I'll be at the Tucson Book Festival all weekend.
This weekend, that's right.
Yes, how wonderful.
Yeah, well, I'll just look at it and see if we can't get over there, and we'll see one of those, which is
That's
probably
great.
good.
Yeah, I'm on a
panel.
I'm on a panel on Saturday and a panel on Sunday.
Right.
And so I'll be listed obviously with the other authors at the Tucson Book Festival. Yeah, I would love that. Would be great.
Well, you'll do well. No doubt about that.
Thank you.
And thanks again. And thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for the work you do. And thank you for having me. It's been lovely speaking with you.
And those that tune in for Searching for Integrity, so long and happy trails to all until we meet again.